Hey everybody, hope you're good. This is Jeffrey from jwproart.com. Just hitting you up with some tidbits to make your life easier when you're working in Photoshop. Today, we're gonna go over selections and what is a selection, why it's important, and how to create effects using selections. So here we go. I really want to emphasize the importance of selections. It's kind of hard to do anything in Photoshop before you make a selection. I mean, of course, if you have an image, you can create effects on the entire image, but in order to isolate and do work and create composites, you really need to learn how to do proper selections. So let's get into it. Here we are in Photoshop, and we have this nice, cool car. That's awesome, right. Okay, so basically we want to choose the pen tool. For me, I'm just gonna press P, that's a shortcut for pen tool. Or you can go down here and choose what looks like a old school pen, right? You click that, and before you get started, up in the upper menu here, there's a option for shape or path. For this particular exercise, we want to choose path. And so we zoom up close. We take our pen tool and we place it on the object that we want to cut away from the main image. And if you notice, using the pen tool, I'm able to go around corners fairly easy, right? And I'm able to copy the contour of the car, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this really quick because I don't want you guys to be here like all day long. So I'm just gonna cut or trace really quickly right here. And as you can see, like, I'm picking points on the car to create a contour or a curve or rounded what will be a selection. Now, the pen tool just creates more or less a trace, and as you go along you can see these lines here that pretty much represent a trace, right? And you can see the lines vaguely. Now after we're done with our selection, we're going to activate the trace, and it's going to show what we call marching ants. And basically it's just going to look like little marching ants tracing the car, or tracing the part of the car in which we have traced. So basically, once you get good at using this tool, basically all you're doing is tracing. And this works for pretty much anything you're working with in Photoshop in where you want to do some type of manipulation. In this case, we're gonna do a minor effect to show a color change. Just something to kind of get wet your whistle on what you can do with this tool. The pen tool is a very powerful tool because it allows you to seamlessly create traces of images or elements within images in which you can then isolate and apply your effect to. So here we are, we're just about done with this effect, and now it's done. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over to the paths layer, or paths palette, basically. All these are different palettes, and sometimes we can group them together for ease. So once you go to the paths palette, you will see a nice rendition of what we just traced. And if you're on a Mac, it's Command. If you're on a PC, I believe it's Control. And you Command click. And as you see, now we have our marching ants that are marching around our car that we created. Bam, nice marching ants. We see them there. Now, over on the layers palette, we only have one layer, it's background. It's always a good practice to rename your background layer so that you can work in it. Okay, now that we have our marching ants, we're going to hit Command J. We're going to create a new layer, and as you can see, we can take the layer we just created, move it around. It's separate from the background that we just got finished clipping it out from. And what we're going to do for the sake of this project, we're going to hit Command click, and we're going to bring our marching ants back. We're going to go down to the 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth selection from the bottom menu, which is what's called an adjustment layer. We're going to click that, and we're going to choose hue saturation, just for the sake of this project. So with hue saturation, it gives us the ability to change the color, the contrast, and also the light and darkness of the image. And as you can see, through saturation, we can deepen the color that's already there. Now that's a little bit too strong. And we can lighten it or add contrast to it. It was beautiful the way it was before. But what's really cool is when we can change the color to it. So we're going to change the color. We're going to make it a nice green for the sake of this project. And that's pretty cool. So this is what it was before, and this is what it is now. So just to make it cool, we're going to add a new layer. I'm going to go over here and grab a shape. And I'm going to color it maybe green, like that, right? And then I'm going to adjust the opacity to maybe 20%. I'm going to turn our background layer back on. And here we are. We have a new composite image that's similar but different than the original. That's the original. That's the one that we did. Now, of course, this is simple, but it just illustrates what you can do in Photoshop. You know, the power to select an image, change the color, change the shape, invert it. So many different things you can do in Photoshop, but with selections. And selections is basically choosing a piece of the image and selecting it so that you can manipulate it. So here we are. Cool, dope image that we can put on our website. We can integrate into a Word document. We can save as a JPEG, PNG. We can save it with a transparency, and we can import it into a InDesign document, a Word document, or any other web page for our viewers. So hopefully you guys think this is cool, and if you like what we're doing here, hit like or hit subscribe or hit comment. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me at jwproart@gmail.com or check us out on jwproart.com. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you again next time.